Christians, they often talk about the returning of Jesus Christ. This is an unknown part of history. In the past, he actually did return several times, and almost all these events ended bad for him. In 175 AD he was thrown into a bottomless pit for saying Holy Mother of God, looking at the boobs of the wife of a Roman general. 200 years later, Jesus was stoned to death at the gates of the city for protesting the outcome of the First Council of Nicaea, right after a sermon he held in a local tavern, where he pointed out severe errors in the several Gospels. At the end of the 8th century, sentenced by the court of Charlemagne, he was executed for impersonating the Christ. In the new millennium, in Jerusalem, he was hacked to death by a French crusader, who mistook him for a Muslim barbarian. 70 years later he was slain by a Viking with the peculiar name of Shrek Ogerson III. He said, Jesus was not mentioned in the Chronicles of Asgard. So he could never be the son of God, Odin, because everyone already knew that was Thor. Between the 13th and 17th century, several times Jesus was burned to the stake, for committing blasphemy, being the Antichrist and for heresy. This happened in France, Spain and Italy. An exception in that period was when Jesus came back in the Netherlands, the first country with religious freedom. He was known as Baruch Spinoza, became a great philosopher, born in 1632, and after a good life he died of tuberculosis in 1677. During the French Revolution, he was accidentally guillotined, because he wore a very nice coat, that was just given to him by some aristocrat. At a certain time, he was just once more burned at the stake. His crime was turning water into wine. This happened in Salem, Massachusetts. To the Puritans there, this was sorcery or witchcraft. He was also present and killed in the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, fighting with a coalition of Native American tribes against the army led by General Custer. Jesus was a very respected shaman and protege of Lakota holy man, Sitting Bull. In the mid-20s of the 20th century, he was shot by an Alabama redneck, who called him a creepy, filthy, Negro-loving, long-haired queer. The next time Jesus came back was in Germany. And for being Jewish, very sadly he suffered the fate of millions of fellow Jews during the Holocaust. In 1993, the Waco, Texas siege, Jesus was present but was one of the 76 people who died in the fire that engulfed Mount Carmel Center. It is not certain if, that time, he went under the name David Koresh. During the period after the Second World War, a few times he ended up in psychiatric prisons and 2 times died there, after receiving extensive electroshock treatment, as considered the best therapy for lunatics who think they are Jesus Christ. If Jesus has recently returned, it is almost certain that he spends his days committed to some institution, where he is being treated as just the next deluded psychotic patient who is convinced he is Jesus of Nazareth. After all, look around, how many religious lunatics are there, claiming they are the representatives of God, or even pretending to be the Savior of mankind, Christ himself. And to all you Christians, who will say this is all a load of crap, yes, of course it is. But it is no different than the load of crap coming from the Bible, the same load of crap you all swallow without questioning. But I tell you, this story of mine contains a dark truth. If Jesus really would return, you devout followers of Christ would totally ignore him, and quickly dismiss him as just another lunatic with an identity problem. Even if he performed miracles, you would explain them away as Hollywood special effects trickery. You Christians would even stand in line to call him an impostor, and to nail him to the proverbial cross yourselves. In the back of your head, you know it is all make-believe, it will never happen in reality. Wake up, religion is the real load of crap in life. And the answers you find in it, are answers in insanity. Religion is a delusion.